Jen, Quinta, what
Yeah.
it's like to watch Friends now.
Oh God, don't make me cry.
I won't. We won't make each other cry.
Okay.
Towards the tail end of Jennifer Aniston's and Quinta Brunson's conversation for Variety's Actors on Actors series, an off-camera Variety producer fed a seemingly mundane but actually very pointed question for Quinta to ask Jennifer, a question that comes 7 months after Matthew Perry's death.
Well, you're already crying. Do you want a minute? We don't have to talk about.
No. Sorry, I just started thinking about.
I know. Yeah.
Just like the Variety producer's question, it went unsaid between the two ladies what was getting Jen immediately choked up.
Are you sure? We don't have to
Yeah.
really.
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
It's a happy tears.
I'm going to come at this from the behind-the-scenes production standpoint because I think that's the unique perspective I can offer these situations. But yeah, the Variety producer absolutely was asking, Quinta to ask.
It's like to watch Friends now.
Since Matthew Perry died. That's what you kind of do. You ask a seemingly innocent but somewhat leading question in hopes that the celebrity is going to take it the rest of the way and talk about what you really want them to talk about. And yeah, I find in my own experience in watching other interviews where it happens, it's really like the celebrity knows exactly what you're asking, and it's really up to them if they're going to, take the bait or steer clear. In this circumstance, Jennifer didn't even really get to make that choice. That her emotions gave the answer before she could.
Thank you, honey. Okay. And we're back.
Jennifer actually hasn't done any interviews since Matthew's death. She was out during the awards season circuit just over 2 months after Matthew's death, but didn't do any press at the Golden Globes. And then only Entertainment Tonight snuck in a question right at the end of their interview on the Critics' Choice Awards red carpet.
I just want to know, how do you hope everyone continues to celebrate Matthew's legacy?
Celebrate him.
That Jen could just walk away from afterwards. What I find interesting here is that Variety kept the feeding of the question to Quinta.
You ask Jen, Quinta.
In the past, when I've covered these Variety Actors on Actors episodes, I pointed out when it's very obvious to me that a Variety producer has fed, a topical or headline-generating question into the conversation.
Would you think of putting the suit back on again for Tony Stark?
I can't recall if this is the only other time that they've kept the mechanics of things in there.
Something we've never done before.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you a video.
Just going to embarrass me.
But it was unavoidable when they wanted Rachel Weisz to watch a clip of Taron Egerton on Watch What Happens Live.
Who was your first ever celebrity crush?
Rachel Weisz. I cannot believe you're doing that to me.
Because if they didn't, all of a sudden in the edit would have been Rachel suddenly holding a device, and we'd all be like, where did that come from?
Here we are now sitting in the awkwardness.
Well, I'm very honored.
My initial thought of why Variety included it in a Jennifer Aniston episode was because if they hadn't, it would have been a jump cut from Jen looking happy to all of a sudden Jen clearly appearing to have just be crying and still wiping away tears. So they had to include it in the edit.
Okay. So,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Friends is turning 30.
And I'm turning 30.
And you are turning 30.
This is so cool.
Isn't that
what a
wild?
coincidence.
It's so crazy.
But actually, other than that brief, the tears are done. And Quinta does a fantastic assist for Jen, not for Variety, in taking the wheel and steering it away from Matthew.
It's crazy. 30.
It is crazy. It is wild. And
Yes.
that show premiered, I was 5, and it continues to be one of the best shows on television.
It's so strange to even think that it's 30 years old.
So to not include the in-between, Variety really wouldn't have gotten Jen acknowledging Matthew's death in her response. And probably wouldn't have gotten the press coverage that they got today. There is a moment about a minute later where Jen corrects herself.
I think all 5 of us, all 6 of us we never could imagine, you know?
Yeah, she started by saying the 5 of us, and then she changed it to 6.
We see each other. I talked to FaceTime with Court last night for like an hour. And Lisa and the boys. And we just have it's a family forever.
Those 10 years were everything. And just made that they're my family.
Just 3 weeks ago, I pointed out that Courtney Cox was the first of the Friends 5 to do an interview after Matthew's death when she sat down with CBS Sunday Morning to promote her home care line, Home Court.
I do not want to be those people like cry. I hate that.
Courtney was adamant that there would be no tears, but Jen couldn't help it. And it does make me wonder if Jen had any say in Variety, including that somewhat behind-the-scenes moment. And since it was ultimately included, I don't think it's against Jen's wishes. I think that there was probably a conversation afterwards, and Variety saying to Jen and the people, we want to include that moment. And there probably was some hesitation on Jen's part, and there probably needed to be some convincing, with Variety convincing Jen to include it. But yeah, I think ultimately Jen gave the go-ahead that they could include it. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Jennifer Aniston getting teary-eyed over not being asked about Matthew Perry, but really being asked about Matthew Perry? What are your thoughts?
Okay.